Okay, before we get into the video, I just want to tell y'all to go check out the link tree, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Discord, YouTube, the email, and just look forward to more being added in the future. Okay, hear me out. Stay with me until the end. I just want to add this. So the last video, which is not the superpower video, well, that all was one video until I made it into two. But the video before that with Beyoncé x Bad Bunny, I talked about how I feel like it's like a revolution being televised. It was Kendrick saying the revolution is about to be televised, and Beyonce was saying the revolution will not be televised. I forgot which one it was, but I remember that it was either way. So basically, both was still pushing the same message about the revolution being televised and not being televised. If y'all get what I'm saying. So why I'm bringing that up is to say that the theory that I made around showing how Beyonce, the recent pictures Beyonce posted was of her, I would say the main picture that you could think of, eating a hamburger. And the two flags was the American flag and the Puerto Rico flag. So if you look at the American flag, it was first revolution that was televised and that was not televised. And I'm saying was televised because of Kendrick's Super Bowl message, and then Beyonce Cowboy Carter tour being expressed with the revolution or towards the revolution, but really was like about reclamation, and we suspect that the revolution will come within Act 3. I said that now since Bad Bunny is doing what he's doing, it was like a male revolution with a female revolution with Beyonce and Kendrick. Said that was a pair too. And I also said that I feel like the acts are like gender role based, like masculine, feminine Renaissance, masculine Cowboy Carter. With that being said, my whole point of saying all of that is I added Bad Bunny to that and saying, okay, basically they saying, okay, no matter the gender and no matter the race, no matter the culture, the ethnicity, that's basically the message that I'm getting with Beyonce also being in support of the message that Bad Bunny is pushing within his Super Bowl performance, within his Grammy speech, everything like that. Pushing love, no hate towards anybody because we all human, if y'all get what I'm saying. Now I'm saying that to say it don't matter the race, color, everything like that. Everybody matters. This is the message that they basically pushing. Everybody is human and what's going on is not right. Okay, we got that out the way. So I end up going on my TikTok and I end up seeing this post. And this was a post that I made when I was putting up things that was related to Prince and how I feel like this stuff will go within Act 3. I'm gonna get into how I thought about this and what made me think about this, but first I'm gonna go over this. So I remember when Beyonce did this half-face picture, and I brought up how she consistently does this half-face picture for each acts and each act's vinyls. So that told me that this was a clue. If y'all look at every vinyl that Beyonce has put out with these acts, it's always been a half-face picture. And then this time she just decided to put a half-face picture up when she posted the pictures of her being Prince for Halloween. I'm gonna get into more of that towards the end of this video, her and dressing up as Prince. But I want to show y'all how I came up with this theory. And yeah, it was just crazy how I came up with this theory after recording that Bad Bunny x Beyonce x Bad Bunny video. So y'all see what I'm saying. This was a picture she posted to Instagram. This is not on a vinyl, but all of these other half-face pictures is on the vinyls. Renaissance, Cowboy Carter. If y'all look at the pattern, y'all know I know this pattern. So that's one thing that I can say, and I'm gonna explain to y'all more patterns if you know stick along. So going to this, that first picture was the half-face picture. It was like a I think they call it a carousel or whatever. I posted that to TikTok, and remember I told y'all how I feel like every act is related to feminine, masculine, and how I feel like actor will be both. So it say I recently looked at this picture and the Prince symbol had me thinking about my theory about Beyonce potentially doing this. Okay, femininity and masculinity equals to both. Now, if y'all look at his symbol, I just happened to go and look on TikTok and seeing this symbol right here, and that made me think like to look further and do more research into this symbol. But before we get into that, I thought about and noticed that the word revolution, and this is also what we speculated Act 3 could be, revolutionary, the revolutionary era or a revolutionary era. And when I ended up coming across this cover, it made me think like, okay, Prince and the revolution, which that's a message pushing a revolution within this album. And then she did what what she did as far as dressing up like Prince. Okay, so we're gonna keep going. It's gonna all make sense when I get to towards the end, when it all comes together, so y'all can see where my point of view is headed. So it's a Purple Rain, the album and the song is a genre blending masterpiece. We know with Beyonce also, she also does that, primarily mixing rock, funk, R&B, and soul with strong elements of gospel and pop. Okay, right? It's saying creating a unique Minneapolis sound. And I said, so that make me look at all of the genres within the albums, which is multiple, right? All of the genres within that album. And then this is also what I added to that same carousel on TikTok, was her putting this up. And I'm gonna talk more about this because I know some people gonna be like, oh well, that's her Houston sign and everything like that, but I'm gonna talk further on it. Okay, so right here, the rock and roll hand sign, also called the sign of horns or devil horns. Remember, I already talked about this. I talked about how she has a horn on the front of the motorcycle with her and Jay-Z, and it was horns. And I said that plays a role in Act 3. Beyonce, a few of Beyonce looks, like one for Renaissance. I talked about this when she was standing on the stairs. I also put something with the horns on the other channel as well. I'm gonna have to go over them videos. I keep saying that, but I'm gonna have to go over them so y'all can see exactly where I'm coming from. But yeah, we know, and like I said, I know people gonna be like, oh, that's the Houston sign, but this is why, and that is why I feel like she's going to use that hand sign even more. Not only does it stand for rock, but it stands for Houston on top of devil horns, and we already know with the colors that they could be white, black, and red. And like I said, a lot of the things that I've seen, I have seen these horns. But this is the rock sign, and like I said, this made me think that she's going to use that even more, because of, it's like how people will say in Kendrick music, he used double entendres, or you know, a rapper that used double entendres in music, they call them double entendres. It would not be too far-fetched for her to use this sign if it goes and represents her, where she's from, and you know, the rock, what she's trying to do, like for the rock era, on top of her putting it up. So people will most likely think like, okay, yeah, she's doing that for Houston, when she could be doing it for both, and we just thinking that she's just putting that up for Houston, even though we know she already, you know, she's been doing that. I still feel like it's intentional for both, a double entendre meaning. And this is when I say, but I recently looked back at this picture and the Prince symbol caught my eye more this time. So I already brought this up. I'll be saying it ahead before I get to that, but I'll be so excited about it, so I end up pointing it out right here, putting the arrow right here. I just happened to look right there. I'm like, hold on, let me look up, you know what I'm saying, because I always seen that Prince embraced masculinity and femininity. You know, can't forget this symbol because I've seen it so many times with them seeing stuff related to Prince, but I never really thought to look it up. And like last year, I really started more so doing research, and I think I have a video on this channel as well when I talk about how I feel like Renaissance is more of a, and it's going off topic, but when I realized and did research and figured out that Renaissance to me was more of like the matriarchy, and how it was more of femininity and the mother over the father, as in the aunt, you know what I'm saying, the Egyptian aunt. Like I started to look more into that and get more interested in that, because I feel like it never made sense to me that the mother was missing. But like I said, that's just another story for another day. And now seeing this sign, it made me curious and made me want to research and be like, okay, what is this about? Like, you know what I'm saying, what is the meaning of it? Like, I always seen this, and I know if I seen it on a regular day any other time, that I would be like, yeah, I know that symbol is Prince symbol. But this made me go do research when I looked on this motorcycle and seen it. I'm like, okay, hold on. So we going back to the feminine plus masculine equaling up to both. When Beyonce did these pictures, you know, I'm just thinking like, okay, that's sweet. She switched the outfits out when I first seen it. Then Sinners came out. I'm like, dang, hold on. I ended up going back and seeing this picture again. I'm like, dang, this remind me of like something like Twins. Well, at first I was saying it was two of her. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, okay, she's doing that for act 2. I forgot about that. I'm like, she's doing this for Act 2, because I also pointed out how she put a song on there for the twins, a song on there for Rumi, a song on there for Sir, and that was 2, and they are twins from as a pair. So Act 2 would have made sense for her to do this. I looked at this and was like, okay, she's doing this for 2, you know, 2 of her. But then, like I said, when Sinners came out, I started to look at it like, okay, hold on. But, you know, I'm just thinking like, okay, that could be a coincidence, you know, everything like that. But when you look at this further, when I first realized that I started to do more research on Renaissance and then started to do more research on Cowboy Carter and started to notice how Renaissance was more of a feminine era for her and representing the feminine era, showing love, sharing, giving knowledge on the feminine era, on the history of women and how important it was through her art without having to say it, but show it, you know what I'm saying, within her tour, within her art, music, everything like that, expressing the feminine side. And I don't know if she was doing this like as far as expressing it towards herself or representation of herself, or I'm not sure if she's doing that in general to like just put it out as art to like show everybody that it's nothing wrong with the feminine and masculine side. I'm not sure, but that is just where I get it from. That's just what I think. But like I said, looking at this, I'm like, okay, well, hold on, because she has pants on this side. We know pants in this society is more so worn by males. We know that. And then she has a skirt on this side showing more legs. And we know that that would primarily go with females. It looked like she had on two different heels too, if I'm not mistaken. Like, cause this one looked more taller than this one. I don't know too much about heels, but it just looked different. Like you tell that these are different. Like she switched them out. But yeah, and I never noticed that until now, so that's why I just said that. But yeah, if you look at it, it's just like, okay, we already been through the feminine era, and then Cowboy Carter, to me, like I said, this is my theory that we will be going into. That we was in the masculine era, and then her basically showing both pants to skirt. Not to mention how I feel like Renaissance was more feminine and Cowboy Carter was more masculine. So that made me look at this sign. Like I said, more research on this sign. It say on June 7th, I don't know why I said 17th, 1993, Prince changed his name to an unpronounceable love symbol. Y'all see that? Love. We talked about that in the last few videos. Often represents as, and they put the symbols on there, as a rebellious act against Warner Brother Records, which held the trademark to his name. The symbol, and that's how you know like the name is a part of the business too, because he had to go outside of his name, Prince, to come up with a symbol to try to go around them holding him back, which was rebellious. And that also goes along and relates to Act 3 as well, like a rebellious era, which will make sense. So it say the symbol, a fusion of male and female gender signs with a cross and horn. Ironic. It represents his fight for creative autonomy. So y'all see that. And it say the love symbol. It was a blending male and female symbol with a cross and horn, reflecting androgyny and the merging of his musical and personal identity. Right? Okay, right here I put like the merging of the gender signs. Y'all know like female, male, and this is just like the symbol of them coming together that I just made and merged them, like showing the representation of them being merged with an arrow pointing to Prince's sign and creating one. So two becoming one. And they say gender symbols are the circle above a cross, right? Circle above a cross, signifying female, and the circle below an arrow pointing diagonally upward to the right, signifying a male, right? You see it, symbols right here, symbols right there. When masculine and feminine characteristics, roles, and energies are put together, it generally creates a blend often referred to as androgyny, possessing both male and female characteristics. Balance, harmony, or intersex is biologically context. Androgyny is the combination of masculine and feminine characteristics, blending gender expressions to appear neither exclusively male nor female. So embracing both sides of feminine and masculine energy, which is what I think Prince was pushing. Well, which we know and see that's what Prince was pushing. And it would make sense because in the norms, if y'all see what Beyoncé is doing, she's going outside of the box of what we normally see, doing one genre and being stuck in that box of being able to only do one genre. Like saying if you are R&B artist, you could just do R&B. That's like rebellion. Like everybody being against her. Oh yeah, we need to see her do an R&B album. We want her to do an R&B album. And I feel like that's more so making her be like, I just feel like I shouldn't just be stuck in one box because you want me to be stuck in that box. I don't know if that's how she feel, but that's just what I take from what she's doing. And that's another thing that goes along with the rebellion. The rebellious act of not doing what everybody else want me to do, but doing outside of the norm. And she done said this in her speech to like she wants to switch it up and make everything that they want to be normal not just normal. It's whatever you want to do and expressing in your art. And she want to push this for future generations to come that is doing whatever, you know what I'm saying, in life and going for what you want to do versus what they want you to do. But she's also speaking at a point in the art within music. Like, not just if you a rock artist, not just doing rock. If you don't want to do rock, and one day if you just wake up and be like, I want to do rock, but I also want to do hip hop, you should be able to do that versus somebody saying, oh, that's a rock artist, what is they doing over here? That's basically what I feel like she's saying. That's basically what she has been pushing, which is why she does multiple genres within her music. We know Prince also did this. So when doing my research, I end up coming across, was it on this one? Yes, it was on this one. So I forgot to add this. It say, in modern pop culture, notably championed by figures like Davy Brown and Prince. So looking up Davy Brown, seeing Davy Brown, I was curious to know. If I'm curious about it, I'm looking it up. So Davy Brown was a highly influential, genre-defying artist, primarily associated with rock and notably pioneering glam rock in the 1970s. Over a 5-decade career, he constantly reinvented his style, incorporating elements of art rock, pop, soul, electronica, I think I said that right, and industrial music. Now, when you think of this, and my pattern recognition also shows me that this sounds like Beyoncé. This sounds like Prince. It sounds like different artists. Sounds like Michael Jackson. Everybody, they basically doing it, and this is what made and this is what makes them legendary artists, because they are going outside of the norm. Not only that, like they genre blending. They not just sticking to one. So why wouldn't you? That's creating. Just imagine that, like using Beyonce as the example, a perfect example. Her doing R&B back then, and her just only having a audience for R&B. You know, people that love R&B. Her switching it up grew her audience even more. And I say that because, okay, now we say house music, Renaissance, country music, Cowboy Carter. Well, as Beyonce would say, these are Beyonce albums, but you get what I'm saying. She's creating her own, just like how they say right here. He constantly reinvented his style. So you can't just say Beyonce is a pop artist. You can't just say Beyonce is a R&B artist. Beyonce going across the board, like how all the artists used to be back then. And I feel like that's what B is trying to bring back, if y'all get what I'm saying. That's what it seemed like from, and this is just my perspective of it. I don't know, I can't tell you if Beyonce, if this the message that Beyonce is pushing, but within Beyonce's speeches that she did at iHeartRadio, that she did at the Grammys, she has a point. She already proved the point. Don't get me wrong, because I know people gonna be like, Beyonce proved her point. She don't owe nobody nothing else to prove a point, but she's her personal point that she wants to prove is to, like, and I heard her express this multiple times, I think even at the Kamala rally, that she is also doing this for the artists to come, because the artist that was before her did the same thing. So it's almost like they paved the way for her, and she, like I said, she said this in her own words, and she's paving the way by making it her style. And this is why she's legendary, and why she is going to be legendary for a long time. But it say, then I looked up what I was up until 4 in the morning doing this, so if I made some mistakes, but I was just trying to hurry up and get all of this done so I wouldn't forget what to add to this slide as well. So my bad if y'all see errors and I'm going off of topic. But yeah, it say, then I looked up what made Prince pick the color purple to represent his symbol. And I was thinking, I'm like, okay, well, what if it's, I intentionally looked this up because I was like, what if those are the two colors put together? And I later looked that up too. But it say Prince chose purple to represent his identity and symbol because it embodied his androgynous, mystical, and extravagant artistry, acting as a perfect blending of masculine and feminine energies. Oh, and I'm glad I almost kept going. And right here it say calm blue and fierce red. So I asked, why did he make the color purple? And I ended up looking up blue, red. And then I'm like, red? I'm like, okay, red. When they more so, I'm about to get into it. I said I questioned red and did more research. So right here, in modern Western culture, pink is generally associated with femininity, with the blue representing masculinity. Now I said, now pink, I know you're probably like, how you go from red to pink? I looked at red and was like, okay, red is like more of a feminine color. Like to me, when you see gender reveals, and I'm not trying to say like, oh yeah, you can't use other colors and just use the color that I feel like you can use. I'm just saying, like, usually when you see a gender reveal, the main color that they represent a girl is pink, and then the main color that they represent or relates to a boy is blue. So that's why I question red. I wouldn't say like red is not a feminine color or not a woman's color, but I just more so relate or see pink as the color within the female, I don't want to say logo, the female symbol, if that makes sense. And then blue relating to the male symbol. And we see it at gender reveals all the time. So that's why I looked up this and looked up what is the main color associated to the gender role of a girl, or the gender role related to a girl. And they say primarily pink. They say I thought about how the gender colors are usually pink and blue and not red and blue, but I still mixed both colors to see what I would get. It say mixing pink and blue together generally creates shades of purple, such as lavender, violet, or magenta purple, depending on the ratio, because pink is a mixture of red and white. So it's still like pink still includes red, but it's a mixture of red and white. And I'm a painter, so that's kind of crazy. I didn't know that. But it said combining it with the blue, resulting in a lighter or more pastel version of purple. And then you go down here, so red and white equaling up the purple. So either way, red is still included within pink. But it's a red and blue as primary colors in traditional painting mixing combines to create the secondary color purple. So yeah, we see that basically that was that. I just wanted to add that because they had said that red and then said blue, but I usually thought of it as pink, so that's why I added that. But it's a Prince released the Love Symbol album in 1992 as a direct act of, we already talked about this, but I'm just gonna go over it again, as a direct act of rebellion against Warner Brother Records, which was trying to restrict his at time overwhelming artistic output and control his brand. That's also why I feel like Beyoncé studied bad, because that's also why I feel like she owns everything. You know what I'm saying? She got the knowledge and really ran with it, like, because it's like you learn. Like, I feel like she did do deep research into these artists that came before her, so you can learn. That's the whole point. They are paving the way and showing you, basically having a way for you to, I ain't gonna say follow, but like be inspired, but also make it your own. Y'all get what I'm saying? Like Prince, his own brand. Like, that's Prince. You can't say nothing about Prince. That's his legacy. Michael Jackson, his own. You can't say nothing about Michael Jackson. That's his legacy. Beyonce, that's her legacy. This is her legacy. So being controlled by, I can really understand, like, from an artist's point of view. Like, I'm not no professional or nothing like that, but from both of their point of views, and I already spoke on this, I read that the first time, I just added this back again. But from an artist's point of view, like, I couldn't imagine me being controlled, as in like how I put something out. Like, I did music, I did it all. I couldn't imagine nobody just being over me and telling me what I can put out, if I can put it out. That's almost like, and I don't want to try to down talk a job, but that's almost like a 9 to 5 of you have to listen to this person even though you hate your job. Like, that's just my example. Like, it's people that love their job, don't get me wrong, 9 to 5. I'm not trying to talk about anybody that works a 9 to 5 or talk about anything wrong with the 9 to 5, but that's just like you going to your job and you hate it, but somebody is still telling you what to do, or somebody's coming telling you how to do your job, and all you thinking is you wish you can do your own stuff and don't have nobody over you. Okay, so it's a Prince's 1992 Love Symbol album, also known as a eclectic mix of funk, R&B, pop, and rock. Right, y'all see the different genres. I also feel like that's a clue to what, because I already feel like everybody already know or theorize that Act 3 will be rock, right? Right. It's so many clues going towards that way. Can't confirm or deny, but I have a feeling that funk is also included in that. And then for some reason, I just feel like metal music, especially because I taught talked about how I feel like the horse will be metal rock, and then metal horse and all of that. I feel like just go together. Now, as far as R&B, pop, and all of that, I'm not sure. But knowing Beyonce, she mixed genres, so it wouldn't be too far ahead to think about. Okay, before I end this video, I just want to go back to a comment that was made on the Kendrick x Beyonce video, which I think is like the second video on this channel. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, yep, the second video on this channel. Why Kendrick and Beyonce said turn the TV off. That's the title of it. But this comment said, just a quick thing I noticed. You saying Act 3 could be both mask and femme. Why, yes. Because she said in an interview for Vogue, maybe that having her twins was the first time masculinity and femininity were able to exist harmoniously in her bloodline. Act 3 will be both existing harmoniously to fight against and win whatever she says society is battling. This is the video that they commented under and said that because in that video, the same thing that I explained in the last video, Bad Bunny x Beyonce, and also this one is explaining more and going into more of the masculine and feminine energy and what I think Beyonce is doing, and the point of views of when I said in the last video that I feel like Beyonce and Kendrick doing the same thing. Is pushing a message and showing us from a male and female perspective. So when I say masculine and feminine energy, that is what I mean. When I say that's what I'm talking about. Masculine and feminine energy. Beyonce feminine, Kendrick masculine. The male view of the revolution, the female view of the revolution. Not only that, Renaissance being feminine, Cowboy Carter being masculine. Those two worlds colliding together. And this also tracks for how we think that the visual is going to be. All of these worlds, all of these albums, all coming together as one. If y'all want to check this video out, this is the thumbnail to that video. It will be in the description below.
She gone.